Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another JVS review of the new CWDC Universe show, Stargirl. You already know who's this star, so I'm not going to get into that. We'll quickly jump into synopsis and then get into our little review slash non-spoiler review of the show. So, after a dangerous confrontation with a member of the Injustice Society of America, Pat warns Courtney to back down from her attempts to go after them. So, in this episode, which is entitled Icicle. So you kind of know the lead character and who you're going to get in this episode. Now, with that being said, this is possibly the best episode so far for Stargirl. And that says a lot. Episode 1 was good. Episode 2, a little let down from 1, but still good. Episode 3, it looks like from this episode, you're going to get the tone and everything of the show. The first 2 episodes were like the origin stories, trying to get you introduced to the characters and things of that nature. But this episode brings it all together, and now you kind of see what the tone of this show is going to be, what direction they're going to go with this show, and that's what makes this so amazing. Anyone who see the first 2 reviews know how much I love Stargirl, and this episode right here was the one I've been waiting for people to get to see, to make you understand just how much. So, quick points of this episode. It starts off with a Guardians of the Galaxy type field scene of Icicle's wife passing away. And in that scene, I think we kind of get the point of why Icicle is the way he's going to be in this show. Now, it's a deep scene, it's a moving scene for a villain to have, a very moving scene for a villain to have. And in the end, right before his wife takes her last breath, she tells him to basically make the world a better place for their son and destroy anyone who stands in his way. I think the weight of that statement, the weight of that scene is why we're getting the villain that we're getting for this show. Very much reminded me at times in this episode of Malcolm Merlin and just the way he executed things. So that threw me off, but it's a good throw off because I wasn't expecting these type of villains on Stargirl. Like this, as I said before, is a beautiful mix of the lightheartedness of Flash and the darkness of Arrow, all rolled into a teenage drama craziness. But that scene there, the open up with that scene, and we get the purpose of Icicle, it kind of makes you feel for him. But later on in the episode, which I'm not gonna spoil any parts of it, all those feelings go away because he is the villain needed for CW shows after what he did in this episode. So after we get the big reveal, we see Icicle discovers that Brainwave is in a coma, and again, without giving too much away, Pat discovers that Brainwave is in a coma and he was hospitalized, but no one knows he's Brainwave, meaning if you saw the end of the second episode, he clearly got wiped out by Stargirl in costume. So that means someone covered up for him and took away his costume so no one discovered who he actually is, which means Pat's greatest fears are realized, and that is he was not alone. More people of the Injustice League is in this town. Now, we knew that, but Pat didn't know that, and that's like a big reveal for Pat in this episode that's happening. Then we also get a little bit more of the Wizard. I mean, he was in the first episode, and he kind of went back and forth a little with Brainwave about who was the leader, or who did Icicle leave in charge. In this episode, we see even more so, I think I said in the last review, how reluctant the Wizard was to continue that life. In this episode, you kind of see why he has a son who possibly, it seems like they basically made him the sweetest kid on the show. And it kind of sees that he's moved his life beyond being a member of this evil organization, but the evil organization will not let him be, as he has a very tense scene with Icicle about the lengths you're willing to go to right the wrongs of the world, and what Wizard isn't willing to do and what Icicle is willing to do. And that scene, again, I was not expecting these type of scenes from Stargirl. Let's see what else big points I can hit on without revealing too much of anything here. We discover we see Icicle insert himself back into the life of the town and back into his structure as the leader of the Injustice Society, which now we see, especially with this episode, that they do control that entire town. And now he's back and inserted himself in that, and then it's like a weird chemistry thing with him and Barbara. I don't know if that's true in the comics. If it is true in the comics, let me know in the comment sections, because I don't know. I don't read comics. I would know this, but it clearly is some tension between him and Barbara that is just there from him now being the person over the company, and then him liking her ideas, and then the way they mesh in a very short period of time they're on screen together. It's very interesting to see where they're going to go with that relationship. So then we get to the skip a lot and just get to the big fight. That's what everyone wants to see. We get to the big fight between Icicle and Stargirl, which is, it starts off with Icicle leaving a warning for Stargirl. He leaves a frozen star in the middle of the field. That to me, when you see that, when you see her walking from school and her seeing that star in the middle of the field, it kind of signifies just how big a threat Icicle is. As Pat also tells her in the episode, the only thing he's ever known to even hurt Icicle is the staff. So he really does not want Courtney to just go after him. He's terrified of that, and he's terrified of what can happen, especially since, again, he saw this same guy and his team kill Starman. So he's terrified for Courtney. He doesn't want her to proceed in her attempting to stop Icicle. And then we get to the big fight, and as I've said with every episode, every fight on Stargirl is great. This one is short, but it's really good. It does a great job of showing Icicle's power, the staff's power, and just even Pat with Stripes and what that could be once all the kinks are worked out of it. But at the end of the fight, one of the most horrific scenes in the CW show happens. And it is sick. It is calculated. It is everything you will want in a villain. And for a villain to do, he does in that scene, in this episode. I am not going to give anything away. Let's just say that by the end of this episode, Icicle feels like the biggest threat in the Arrowverse. And that's something I've been waiting to see, because out of all the shows, I think past Flash season 2, maybe, when he had the big bad, we've not had a big bad in one of these shows, and Icicle fits that big bad, especially by the end of this episode. You're going to see it. You're going to be blown away of the things he do at the end of this episode. But other than that, again, pacing great, storyline amazing. The show feels so grounded, so real, and I think that's been a flaw in a lot of Arrowverse shows. Whether it be Batwoman, which amazingly didn't feel real, Supergirl really doesn't feel real. Legends is a comedy; it's supposed to not feel real. We haven't had a show this grounded since Arrow, and it's thriving in this cat. I am shocked out of my mind when I saw this episode back in March. That's how long it's been since I've seen this episode. Back in March, when I originally saw this episode, I was blown away by their willingness to go there. And I think you all will be too. Check it out again. Let us know what you think. We'll be back with next week's episode, which is entitled Wildcat, which, if you all know, Wildcat is a member of the Justice Society of America. So maybe we get old Wildcat. Maybe we get someone taking on the mantle of Wildcat. You never know, because Stargirl is building. Again, this is the episode that sets the tone to me for the rest of the season. So this is the most important episode you have to see. So check it out. Again, it dropped on Mondays. It drops on Mondays on the DCU app. It drops every Tuesday on CW. This has been another JVS television review for Stargirl. Peace, people.